Hello, and welcome to the Brutal Iron Gym podcast, where our goal is to cut through the BS and deliver the brutal truth about topics related to health and happiness. Today's podcast number 2206. The topic is mindset, and the title is Sustaining Long-Term Motivation. A client who's been working on body composition recently wrote in their journal that they're a little frustrated with the rate of progress. I just now laughed in my head as I read that sentence, and I'm like, this is a stupid thing to post about. In the sense that I'm just like, a client is unhappy. Let me tell you the story. Well, I guess this is what happens when you're honest. Okay, so let's go through this and let's figure out what's going on. So all of my online clients, they have their own journal. It's private between me and them, so they can write whatever they want. So she wrote the following. Rob, I need some help. I have been eating extra food, small snacks and scraps left over from the kids' meals, but I haven't been logging it into MFP, MyFitnessPal. Part of me feels embarrassed, but the main reason is I am feeling defeated. When we first started, and along the way, you've explained to me that it would be slow to see changes on the outside and on the scale. I understand what you've said about the countering effects of fat loss and muscle gains, and that the scale fluctuates daily, but I still feel defeated. My clothes are fitting looser around my waist, I have noticed that, but the scale isn't moving. I can't see any new muscle definition. I feel like I'm putting in a lot of effort, but not seeing equal results. I was wondering how you stay motivated towards a goal when you know it'll take several months, if not years, to achieve it. Okay, so to unpack this a little bit is she's probably around 30% body fat and needing, she wants to lose weight, but it's not really weight loss as much as she wants an aesthetic physique. So she's new to weight training, and she's dieted a bajillion times over the years, but it's typically been overly restrictive. So what's happening is, since she's increasing the intensity and frequency of her weight training, she is building new muscle tissue. That new muscle tissue is going to add weight. Now, she is losing fat. Even if she's eating small snacks and scraps and stuff, I bet she's probably still in a calorie deficit, because we have quite a large range for her to choose from, and she typically chooses towards the bottom of the range. So I doubt she's eating enough to kind of bring her out of fat loss, but she's probably slowing down the rate of fat loss to some degree. But as she loses fat, she's going to weigh less, but as she's building muscle, that's going to add weight. So the scale isn't going to change much until the body becomes more kind of accustomed, more used to the weight training component. And she's also, she's trying her best, but she's not hitting her numbers exactly, all the time. So sometimes the calories are a little higher than they should be. Sometimes the calories are right, but the protein is too low. So she is putting in a lot of effort. That is 100% true. 100%. Totally agree with you. But the accuracy of the effort does need to improve, and that would allow her to see better results. So she feels the pressure of the diet every day, but she's not necessarily following the diet every day. So there's a little bit of a difference there. So let me read my response. I wrote, I understand. Don't feel bad about how you feel. It's totally normal. Even though we've discussed this happening and have talked through the details, it's still going to happen. You're putting in more effort than you have before, but you don't outwardly see the results as of yet for that effort. As we discussed, what's happening now is underneath what we can see, but eventually we will see it. I'm happy to hear you can already feel a difference in your clothes. That's a huge sign of what's to come. If your pants are looser around the waist, then you know your waist is getting smaller. The next step will be getting leaner so you can see how smaller your waist has become. How to stay motivated long term is to diversify your focus. Instead of focusing only on the end outcome, especially if it's 6+ months away, and that's kind of the time frame I gave her, given given where she was coming from, how accurate we were going to be with her food, how new she was at training, meaning that's limiting the intensity and volume of the training. So given all of her individual parameters, I asked her to give herself at least 6 months to say, okay, I know I have to stick with this. I know I have to do my best for 6 months before I can say this isn't working and throw it away. So I asked her for 6 months. So as I was saying to her, is instead of focusing on only the end outcome, especially if it's 6+ months away, let's focus on daily, weekly, and monthly outcomes. So I went down through and I broke this down for her, and I wanted to kind of share that in today's podcast. So for daily outcomes, she's tracking her calories, her protein, and her step count. But what's interesting is she's kind of like thinking past those. She's like, yeah, I'll do my calories, I'll do my protein, I'll do my step count, but have I lost weight yet? And my answer is well, you're not actually doing your calories. You're not actually doing the protein. She actually is doing really well with her step count. But what I mean by this is she might get her calories only 4 or 5 out of every 7 days. Well, why isn't it 7 out of 7? Or 6 out of 7? Especially considering when we talk and talk back and forth each week, she's missing her calorie marks just simply due to lack of detailed attention. So she tracks her food at each meal, but she's not adjusting her latter half of the day meals to make sure she's actually hitting her numbers. So she'll just have dinner, enter it, and then realize she was 200 calories over. And it's like, well, why didn't you enter it before you ate it so that way you could see where it would put you? And part of the reason is she's just like, yeah, I have to eat like this, I have to do this, I have to do this. Have I lost weight yet? I have to do this. Have I lost weight yet? So she's not really prioritizing those daily things and really focusing just how can I win today? How can I crush today? Let me not worry about tomorrow. Let me not worry about 6 months from now. None of that will happen if I don't be successful today. So literally, we just need to focus on today. And know that, okay, if I can take care of my calories, my protein, and my step count today, then I should be happy. Because doing that is going to lead me to where I want. And then weekly. How many days within that week did we hit our calorie, protein, and step count targets? How many workouts did we get in that week? So we want to track those numbers. So if it's 5 out of 7 days for food and she got 4 out of 4 workouts, freaking awesome. If 5 out of 7 is better than it was last week or better than it's been on average, awesome. Now, if she'd previously been doing 6 out of 7 or 7 out of 7 and she had a 5 out of 7, a little bit of a bummer. Let's identify why we missed an extra day, see if it's something that we could adjust for in the future, and then let's move on to the future, right? And then we also have monthly goals. How many days that month did we hit our calorie, protein, and step count targets? How many workouts in that month did we get? Then also, she's taking pictures because she loves the before and after kind of concept. So she's taking pictures wearing the exact same clothes every single month. So she's going to see if there's any outward changes in pictures, and there isn't going to be right away. The clothes might not have a major difference in how they feel each month, but eventually they will. And then we're looking at our weight change trend. So she's weighing herself every Monday and Thursday, and we do not need to be comparing Thursday to Monday and the next Monday to next Thursday. We're looking at 4-week trends. So I said she's only allowed to compare numbers if they're 4 weeks apart or more. So I said, if you're talking about Monday of week 1, you better not talk about another number until we get to Monday of week 5. So I said there's too much craziness and fluctuation and difference on a day-to-day basis that if you look too short term, you don't even know the trending change, whether that's actually related to fat loss or it was just you ate more or less sodium or more or less carbs or drank more or less water or more or less active that day. So we're looking at 4-week trends. If we wait until the end to be happy, we're going to be waiting a long time. Instead, if we can be happy about something each day, then we can at least experience some degree of happiness, some degree of self-satisfaction, some degree of success each day. So track these daily, weekly, and monthly goals. Record them somewhere and compare the weeks, compare the months. She can even track outside stress. And that would be things that are stressing her out other than nutrition and training. So if she has additional things going on at work, additional family things, maybe she has vacation or travel that month, can she still match the previous month's successful days of nutrition of workouts? So for example, let's say she travels and she only does 2 good days out of 7 in a week. That's okay. There's 3 other weeks that month. Can you get 6 out of 7 on the other weeks and say, hey, you know what? Maybe I actually was still lower than I was the previous month in regards to the good number of days. But last month, I didn't have any weeks at 6 out of 7. But this month, I had 3 weeks at 6 out of 7. That's amazing. That is positivity. That is motivation. So can you manage the extra stress maybe even easier this time around? Maybe the last time she took a work trip, she missed every single day, food-wise. Maybe this time she gets 2 out of 4 days. Hey, that's awesome. That's successful. That's motivation. She can also ask herself, what has she learned this past week or this past month? That can help you in future weeks and future months. So I asked her if she's been journaling her thoughts, journaling her experiences. Rather than just playing this negative, sound in your mind every day, literally sit down with a journal and write, what have I learned? What am I grateful for? Happiness is largely a choice because it can be determined in large part, especially over the long term, by our perspective. If we diversify our focus, if we make short-term, medium, and long-term goals, it allows us to stay more motivated because you'll have more successes. You're going to have more data. You're going to have more information to compare, to work with, to focus on and be mindful of. You're going to be more engaged in the day-to-day process. And that's going to help you stay motivated. So how can we sustain long-term motivation? Is to diversify your focus. Make short-term, medium, and long-term goals, which typically for me looks like daily, weekly, and monthly goals. So daily, track your calories, protein, and step count. Weekly, compare how many days you did well with your calories, protein, and step count, and how many workouts that week. And then monthly, how many good days did you get in that whole month? How many workouts did you get that whole month? You can compare pictures, compare the fit of clothes, and you can compare weight trends. 4-week weight trends. Okay, so there's your answer. There are some things to try if you are struggling with long-term motivation. If you have any questions, if you need anything, let me know. My email is brutalironGym@gmail.com. If you like the podcast, please share the podcast. The more people we share it with, the more people we can help. If you share it on social media, that reaches the most amount of people. But even if you share it in a conversation with somebody, that's great as well. If you like the podcast, you can consider donating to support the podcast, which you can do on our website. Or you can go to Nutricost.com, use the code BrutalIron10, and you can get supplements with a 10% discount. And then what you spend, 10% of that comes back to us in the form of a commission. So that way we can help pay for the podcast to keep this thing up and running. So you can donate on the website, or you can donate by buying your supplements at a 10% discount. So yay for you and yay for us. And then if you like the information we share in the podcast, if you can find more from us every single day on Instagram and YouTube under the name Brutal Iron Gym. As always, I hope this was helpful, and thank you for listening.